Liverpool have wrapped up the signing of Giovanni Leoni for €26 million from Parma, and in this video we're going to talk about exactly how he fits within this team and why it is an incredible signing to get in early doors. So let's get into it. Now, it's safe to say that this season Liverpool have needed more defensive reinforcements, and I think we saw that quite clearly in their first game against Crystal Palace. While the attacking reinforcements have been there and we have seen some incredible players come in such as Woklz and Ekitike and potentially an Isak as well, with Woklz leaving and Konaté's contract situation still being up in the air, there is still a need for centre-backs to come in and cover and be able to start in some games, with Van Dijk having to do a lot of the heavy lifting given he is 34, which makes sense why you want to change. Now, obviously, Gueye is linked and he's that more first team player that you will see, but Giovanni Leoni is that younger option that they have needed to come into the team, and I think it is quite clear why. Now, from a tactical level, Giovanni Leoni will come into this team and probably not play too much. If you look at the minutes that he has played over last season, he got bought for around €4 million and then didn't make it into the team fully until about the last couple of months, where he's mostly played as a right centre-back in a back three or a right-back in occasional games. Now, that makes him quite a weird fit, specifically with the three-back system to a four-back, but I think for Liverpool, something that he will do is he will cover for not only both positions, but most likely this Konaté position here, as if you get a Gueye in, that kind of covers a little bit more of the Van Dijk mould, despite them all being right-footed. Now, Leoni coming in is actually quite interesting because one of the things that he is known to be doing is he's quite an aggressive defender, typical in that Italian mould, and get a physical with them and be able to win the ball back very cleanly. This will allow Van Dijk to do his jockeying system and kind of back off a little bit, which you see quite a lot, and honestly gets him into the more attacking areas to be that more aggressive player, which you see in these sort of type of defenders nowadays, a more aggressive one and more standoffish one. Now, his incredible pace can help in other ways. We've always going to have this notion with Liverpool for now and the amount of attacking quality that they have, and especially these two fullbacks, Kjærgaard and Frimpong, consistently overlapping and underlapping, which we've seen so much already in pre-season of them making these runs all the time. Obviously, when you play against this sort of systems and teams are quite deep against you, there is obviously going to be that opportunity to break. Now, they need centre-backs that are quick, honestly going to be quite fit and be able to run back. Leoni has a really good opportunity and really good pace to get into these areas and cover, and he's also quite a comfortable player at doing this transition, while he still is probably that more aggressive type. Now, obviously, this is going to be big for Liverpool, but something that specifically will help Liverpool is how good he is at covering these wide areas. We know Frimpong and we know Kjærgaard are going to bomb up the field, especially Frimpong on this right side, and something that he has been known to be doing is being that sort of defender right at the back here and being able to cover these areas, these big physical areas where the wingers and strikers could get through, and being that sort of last line in these wider positions. And this a lot of the time is where he combines that ability to be aggressive in a tackle but also be able to cover a lot of ground. You see here, if we pass it up, he really does slide the player out and then is able to continue with the ball. This is another example. This one's a little bit in the box, not necessarily as big of a gap, but he has to cover the run inside the box, which he does brilliantly, and then when that run is made, he ends up putting a physical tackle in and keeping the ball, shielding it well from that player. This is something that will help Liverpool. I just think genuinely just having an aggressive defender in there, and obviously given his age, is always a lot of an improvement to happen. Now, that leads on to what is probably the most important thing about him being in the team, and instead of Liverpool having the ball a lot and there's going to be games where they need to transition into a play where they have to rely on their defense, I think this guy in the future can help that a lot. The reason why I say that is because in these areas, which we'll see here within the box, he is crucial to his team's play. This is where you really see the best out of him in terms of defending, in terms of being calm, and he really is good, as you can see here, at tracking really good strikers and putting in a tackle when needed to stop them getting in. This is something that will be key for Liverpool because they just don't have that necessary movement right now. They need a more aggressive type in there sometimes that is going to be calm and be able to develop. And I want to make it clear that it's not only just from these sort of areas where he is really good at making these tackles, he's really good at seeing the danger in front of him, and then when stuff like this happens, he gets into the right position to end up blocking in the first place, which is something that he has always been pretty good at doing for his team. Now, the last couple of points I want to make about him is that his passing on the ball is definitely something something to be maybe improved on. His stats overall aren't that encouraging in, okay, a short sample size, but he isn't really that natural passer. But something you actually see a lot by him is he kind of picks the ball up in these wider areas. Let's say Frimpong goes a bit forward, which you expect on the overlap, and he really likes putting the ball even down here to the wing to Frimpong or even straight to Salah. This is the sort of pass he likes doing, or a pass into like Gravenberch, who may be running through here. He kind of loves this area where we're talking about this half space down here, especially on the right hand side, and this is where you see him make a lot of his great passes. He's not necessarily a natural switcher, he isn't going to switch the ball completely, but I think with Van Dijk being completely able to switch the ball both ways, it's not really that deep, to be honest. And also, you've got to remember he is only 18, so he isn't going to be the most comfortable passer in the world, and I think with Liverpool, they won't get pressed that much at a lot of games. A lot of the smaller games that he'll be playing at least at this level at the moment, he won't be getting pressed at very intently. They'll be sitting off him kind of in a deep mid block, and he's got to kind of break them through. So if he can make them passes, we will see. Now, the last point I wanted to make was that the best thing that this guy brings, not only is his height quite to it genuinely, but because he is that aggressive type of player, this guy is elite in the air. Incredible, I would say. There is so many times where you see him get up in these positions, and you can see the sort of jump that he has. That leap in itself is way higher than any of the players around him. I don't even need to explain that to you. You can see it in the picture there. But the incredible thing is that when he gets this high, he also gets a lot of power between his headers as well. He's great on flick-ons, he's great on these little movements within the box, and that is a great thing that you can use in attacking areas and defensive areas to help defend in the box, but also score goals like this, which you will see right here where he scores for Parma. Now, straight away, when you look at his stats, I will say that the defensive numbers will go down at Liverpool, but the other numbers will probably go up, such as passes, such as that more encouraging stuff. So we'll have to see a little bit more of a level. Now, this guy hasn't played a huge amount of professional football. He was signed, like we mentioned, from Parma last year and didn't really even get into the team at all until about January-December period, where he played about 4 games in December and then did not play until around the end of January, talking about the start of February. So overall last season, he only played around 1,200 minutes, and that's really the experience we have to go off at the professional level. However, before that, he did play in the Serie C, the Serie B, and other levels like that, where he's played around about 1,500 minutes as well, so it's still not a lot of encouragement. But I do think this is one of them young defenders that you see a lot of these teams get in. Although Arsenal did get a Mascara in, which is a different type of profile, a guy that's played a lot in Europe, they aren't that sort of getting in cheap defenders now because they are going to be worth a lot in the future. This is why you see people like Calafiori come to Arsenal, people like Yeni Yoro go to Man United, and all of the players are around about the same fee because these teams, especially Liverpool, I would say, know what they're doing from a recruitment standpoint. It's one of them players that you don't have the huge amount of sample size to look at and all this data around him, and sometimes you just go off by what you see. And I've watched him a few times, and every time I've watched him, that height and the amount of ability he has in the air really stands out, but also that aggressiveness and that sort of adaptability I think will be key for Liverpool. So I think overall this can be a great signing in the future for Liverpool. Might not work out, but they'll probably be able to sell him for quite a lot anyway, because I wouldn't imagine his wages are too high. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, and welcome to this channel. If you want to see more videos about Liverpool and any other teams, let me know in the comments.